All right, we are live. And I am just going to wait for Facebook to update everybody's notifications so that when you come on, you can say hello. Hello, hello. Hello, Julie from Maryland. I'm super glad that you're here. It's nice to see you on here. I am excited that spring is here. Well, spring is here in Texas. I know that it probably doesn't seem like spring in most of the United States. Diana from Southern Oregon, hello and welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Oh, hi, Julie. These are, they're fairly new glasses. I have two pair that I kind of switch off between. This pair that I'm wearing now, when I got them, they were super tight. So I try to wear them a few hours a day to break them in. But I do like them a lot. They're very retro kind of, so I dig them. But thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Zakia from Michigan, Ms. Zach in Michigan. Yes. So I suppose that the northern states, because I know Minnesota, where I'm originally from, they're just getting a ton of snow. And it's going to, I think, be a while before they dig out. But here in Texas, spring is definitely here. The trees are getting their buds on. Everything's turning green. And I saw my first bluebonnets in the ditch this week. Now, if you heard my dogs barking in the background, they're like little ninjas in my house. So every time there's a noise outside or a dog barking or somebody walks past, they just turn into like these massive watchdogs, even though they're tiny Yorkies. But so I'm excited for spring. I love spring. I love when things start blooming. And the bluebonnet is the Texas state flower. And it's a gorgeous flower, and it's wild. It's a wild flower. And during about the second or third week in March, they just start popping up everywhere in Texas. And they're kind of a blue and purple together, and they're gorgeous. And they made it against the law to pick them. And so if they are growing in your yard or if they are growing anywhere, you are not allowed to mow them or pick them or anything. So they're just allowed to be. And what a beautiful thing that is, huh? Diana loves spring. Yeah. And so Oregon, I suppose. Yeah. And I remember when I lived in Minnesota, I remember it snowing at the end of April, sometimes like it was awful. Like, I'm so glad I don't live there anymore. New Hampshire, Susan, you have snow on the ground. Yeah, I've just heard that this year the whole northern area of the U.S. is just full of snow, and they just keep getting more and more and more. So I feel very blessed to live where it's nice outside. It's been cool this week, but I can't complain. Hello, Dana. I didn't know you had live events, but I've been loving your videos. I love your quilts. I've still been pretty new to quilting, but decided to jump right into Christmas gifts. Welcome, Dana. I'm super glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome. Oh, Virginia has snowdrifts and icy roads. Yeah, I can't tell you how much I dislike winter. I was never into winter sports. I was never into outdoor activities. Well, I guess when I was a kid, I went skiing all the time, but I don't even have a desire to be outside when it's cold. So, yeah. So, looks like, Dana, where in Texas are you? I'm interested in knowing. I'm in Waco. So, let's see. I want to, oh my gosh, Virginia. Yeah. So you have a lot of snow. What town do you live in? I'm very familiar with Minnesota. I used to travel around Minnesota for my job, so I knew a lot of places. Oh yeah, I know exactly where Clarebrook is. I worked there a few times. I used to work for Olin Mills as a photographer, and I went around to churches and I took family portraits for church directories, and I did that a while ago. Hello, Kathy from Long Island, New York. Oh, Dana is in the Panhandle, just north of Amarillo. So we've had a kind of a cool week here in Texas, relatively speaking. It's been in the 50s and 60s here all week, and I know the people from the northern states are going, "Oh, that sounds like paradise," and it does, but relatively speaking, right? So, what is on everyone's quilting tables and cutting tables and sewing machines this week in beautiful spring? Spring is coming, and it's the official spring equinox is on Monday, so it's only a few days away. The start of spring, which is also a new moon. On the 21st is a new moon. And so as you see, I am working on a scrap quilt, and this will be my next tutorial. And it is only one block makes this whole quilt. And so my 2.5-inch strip bin is jam-packed full, so full that I can't shut the drawer. So I figured it was time to put those scraps to good use. And so I'm using 2.5-inch strips and 2.5-inch squares to make this scrap quilt. And it's going to be super easy, and I'm excited to show it to you. So right now I'm just putting it all together. I will film the tutorial, and I think it will be out by, well, it would be nice if I had it out by next week. The week after next, by the 27th. I'm kind of hoping to have it out. Julie is doing a brown bag mystery and waiting for the first clue tomorrow. Beautiful scrap quilt. Ooh, that sounds like fun. Susan's making an Irish chain quilt with Harley Davidson theme. Oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. We have a Harley sitting in our garage right now. Diana B is working on one of my 3D quilts for kids in the hospital. I love your patterns. Thank you so much. Are you doing the 3D blocks or the 3D, the blockhead quilt? Or are you working on a different one? The 3D blockhead quilt is pretty cool. I do like that one. And it's easy. It's just once you get it all together, it's just a 4-patch. So it's super easy to make. That's awesome. And we have 18 people on right now. So welcome, welcome. If you haven't, say hello, say hi, so I know that you're here. My friend from high school, Angie, I told her, she's a quilter too. I told her that I was doing the live stream tonight, and she's like, "Don't let me forget." Well, I just can't remind everybody. So I hope Angie's on here. Anyway, hi, Angie, if you're on here. So I went to the Dallas Quilt Show last Saturday. And Diana, the blockhead quilt. I love that quilt. That was a fun one to do. I still haven't gotten around to quilting it. I have to do that because I know how I'm going to quilt it. I just have to quilt it. Anywho, Dallas Quilt Show. It was really nice, and I did a video on it. Hi, Tessa from Georgia. I did a video on it, and I videoed a lot of the quilts that I liked, but I've seen other people's videos and some of the other pictures they took, and I don't remember seeing the quilts that they took pictures of. It's like, how did I miss that? I must have missed a whole aisle or a row of the quilts that were shown, but the amount of talent that was in that room with all the different styles of quilts and colors, and I was amazed. And just when you think you're a pretty good quilter, then you see all these quilts that just blow your mind. And so I was stunned and amazed by just the vision of some of these other quilters. They were just astonishing, and I was in awe just really. Hello, Helen from Sydney, Australia. Lovely that you're here. I'm so happy that you're here. Zakia says absolutely beautiful creation. I'm working on a framed 5-inch square quilt with charm squares. That's lovely. All right. Julendia from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm working on French General Pineapple quilt and an intertwined black, gray, white, gold, and silver quilt. Beautiful. There's my friend Angie. Hi, Angie. I was just talking about you. I'm glad that you're here. Angie Solar is one of my oldest friends. I don't mean that she's old. I just mean that I've known her a long time. We have known each other since junior high school, but for sure since high school. And so we were just talking about the weather up there, Angie, versus down here. And so Angie has known me for a really, really long time. And we're old ladies now, aren't we, Angie? Dana is currently working on quilted throws. The first one is cutting corners. Very nice. And then up is 3D block held, Putama, the Sailor Song, and Spinning Road. So you are doing a medley of my designs, and I thank you for that. I'm so glad that I could inspire you to do those, and I'm glad that you like them enough to want to make them. So that's awesome. Yes. So not old, just seasoned. That's right, Julie. Angie, we are not old. We are just seasoned. We are like a fine wine, and we just get better with age. I know I like who I am a lot more now than I did when I was younger. So I think there's something to be said for that. So yeah, the Dallas Quilt Show, amazing. So much talent in the room. I got to talk to a bunch of fun vendors, and I don't like to just go through their booths. I mean, that's fun too. But what I really like doing is just chatting with people and making new friends and talking to people. I did make a ton of new friends, and I'm a member of a coaching group that is actually based out of New Zealand. And one of the other ladies that's in this coaching group happens to live in Dallas. So we met at the quilt show. So we got to meet in person for the first time. We've been talking online, but it was awesome to meet her, and we got to walk through the quilt show together. She's an art teacher, and she works in a lot of fiber arts and fabric. So it was amazing to meet her in person, and we just became instant friends. So that was pretty awesome. And since I don't really know a lot of people here in Texas, mostly because I don't get out much, I work from home, things like that. So it was amazing to meet her. And I love going to quilt shows. I really do. I'm just amazed by the visions of other people and all the talent that other people have and all of the different styles of quilts. There's everything from improv quilts to super traditional quilts to quilts that have just a ton of fancy applique, super intricate. There's embroidery. There's just all these different visions that people have that they turn into quilts. And I get just overly inspired every time. And part of me feels super inadequate after seeing all of those things. But we have to remember that everyone just has their own quilting style, and everyone has their own quilting personality. And so they pour that into the things they make. And you can't always copy somebody else. You can just be inspired by other people and you can admire their work. But when it all comes down to it, you have to put your own creativity into your own projects. And so Tamala, hi Tamala, it's nice to see you. Tamala says, I grew up in Texas outside of Houston in Baytown. Yes. Diana B says, my sister is trying to talk me into going to the Houston Quilt Show. I want to go to the Houston Quilt Show this year. I think that would be amazing. And so me and my new friend that I met at this year's Quilt Show, and hopefully Angie, you can come and we can go to that Houston Quilt Show together. That would be amazing. I would love to get a group of ladies and just go and hang out and have fun and maybe have a glass of wine or two. Who knows? That would be amazing. Angie says, come up for the new Prague Quilt Show in a few weeks. Yeah, I'm sorry, Angie, but I am not coming up there while it's still cold. There's just no way. unless there's an emergency, a family emergency. My own kids can't even get me to come up there for anything in the winter. Yes, Tamala, put on your walking shoes. I've heard it's massive. I've never been to it, but I've heard it's massive. That would be so much fun. Oh, I would love to get together with a bunch of ladies and just have a good time, just relax, be ourselves, and the wine. There's, I'm not going to turn down a nice glass of pink Moscato or something. Massive is not the word for it. Well, that's exciting. So is it like a weekend or yeah, it must be a weekend. Maybe it's like a 4-day event. I don't know. I've never been, but I do want to go. I think it would be super fun. So I didn't buy a whole lot at the Dallas Quilt Show. I bought 2 huge spools of thread that I don't even know where I put them right now. And they had a booth of African fabrics. And I love African fabrics because the colors are so bold. And the first time going through the show, I didn't even see the booth. But then my friend that I met there turned me on to the actual booth that was selling nothing but African fabrics. And you guys, they were selling 6-yard cuts for $40. Like that is such a good deal. And then they had a sale bin that had 6-yard cuts for $25. So that was amazing. Aboriginal fabrics, yes. Any indigenous fabrics like that are so beautiful because they're out of the norm, and the colors are usually completely stunning. So the big cord coming from the wall. What is the big cord coming from the wall? Are you talking about this cord? This is a phone holder. Hello, Carolyn. Everybody say hi to Carolyn. Carolyn's my mom. Nice of you to join us, Mom. That's awesome. So, oh, that's okay, Julie. I'm sure it looks bizarre from this angle. So I want to show you the African prints that I got from this quilt show. So this print, and I don't think that my webcam is going to do the colors justice for this, but I got this 6-yard cut for $25. And this is stunning. Like this turquoise color is so turquoise. Like, isn't that gorgeous? Like, I love that. There was a lot of peacock type fabric, but this is beautiful. And do I know what I'm going to do with it? Absolutely not. But I just wanted it. I'm sure that some of you can relate. I think it's really rare that I've bought fabric for an actual specific project. I just buy fabric because I love it. Well, look at this blue. I have never quite seen a blue that is this blue. And I got this. This is a 6-yard cut that I got for $40. That is such a good price. This is good fabric. But that blue, that is blue. Depending on what light it's in, it kind of almost even has a purplish, yeah, electric blue. That's right. Cobalt, electric. Yeah. I fell in love with this fabric. I think it's just gorgeous. I just don't want it to run in the wash, but it does have, it's got a wax kind of finish on it. And they said that it's kind of like a batik, but it's not made like a batik, but they do kind of put a waxy finish on it. So I have to familiarize myself with the waxy African type fabrics. And then I also found these fabrics. And I've already used one for a quilt back, but look how awesome this is. Isn't that stunning? Like, I love that. It's purple and yellow, Kind of reminded me of the Minnesota Vikings. But that's not why I bought it, believe me. But I used it for a quilt back for the actually for the cutting corners quilt. And then this one I also fell in love with. I think that's pretty cool. And so yeah, that's super fun. Now this did everybody see the kaleidoscope quilt that was made from panels, that tutorial? The people who know me know I love doing kaleidoscope quilts because there's just something so fun about doing them. And I'm always looking for fabric to do kaleidoscope quilts with. And so I found some more. And this is so cool. And I put this with my mirror, my triangle mirror that I showed you last time. And this would make an awesome kaleidoscope quilt. My mom will attest that when I was a teenager, my favorite colors were black and red and white together. And so, yeah, I fell in love with this. And then this fabric, I love a good paisley as well. It's kind of minty green and pink and pale pink, but it's very, very paisley-ish. That would also make a pretty cool kaleidoscope quilt. So I love that. And then you guys, I love this. So this is a farm scene. Look how cool that is. That is going to make a great kaleidoscope quilt. I just love that. And I've got enough that I can use a section of this as like I used the panel if I want to. Or I can just make a straight up kaleidoscope quilt with it. So that was pretty fun. And I love that. Now, it does look like Minnesota in the summer. Carolyn says it was nice in Mesa today. She is in Arizona. Carolyn, there are a lot of people on this call that are still stuck in winter. So I don't want to make them too jealous about the nice weather that we are experiencing here and there. Virginia asks, I was just going to suggest kaleidoscope. Have you tried doing one with squares? I have done a kaleidoscope. I've done a kaleidoscope with squares using like a 4-patch. I've done hexagons and I've done octagons, kaleidoscope with 8. And I really enjoyed all of those. I think the using the squares is pretty nice. It's easier. You don't have to fiddle with angles so much. The 8 was pretty fun too, and it was very stunning. The only thing wrong with doing the 8 was that there was a lot of fabric waste. And so I managed to use some of it in my scraps, but there was a lot of weird shaped waste that I couldn't really use so much. So yes, I have. Tamala, yes, that is my next tutorial, what is up on my design wall, and I'm using 2.5-inch scraps for that and 2.5-inch squares, and it's super easy. This is the block that we will be making, and believe it or not, it's made with just one thing. So it's super easy, and I can't wait to show it to you. It's going to be super easy. But right now I'm just getting it all together so that I can film it and get the tutorial out. Angie Solar, crumb quilts with odd-shaped scraps. And I know Angie makes a lot of crumb quilts, and she posts them up on Facebook, and they're stunning. And Angie, I really like how you kind of group your colors together. I think they look amazing. I think you do a great job with that. So what else is going on with everybody? Let's see, what else was I going to talk about? Oh, and happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I'm guilty of not wearing green. Green generally does not work well on videos. Sometimes it can act as a green screen. So I did not wear any green. but I had my DNA tested recently, or I sent in my DNA, and I am 5% Irish, so I can claim a little bit of St. Patrick's happiness. And yeah, so definitely. Thank you, Julie's, both Julie's, Julie G, Julie S. Yes, that will be our next tutorial. And and I arranged it a different way, and it was kind of cool, but it almost looks too busy. But I will show you in the tutorial the different ways that I tried setting those blocks. Definitely. Virginia went to an Irish high school. Were they the Irish? Like, was that their mascot? My children went to Rosemont High School in Minnesota, and they were the Rosemont Irish. My kids went to Rosemont, Virginia. Rosemont, mighty Irish. Yes. Susan L. had back surgery 2 weeks ago. Oh my gosh, Susan, I hope that you're recovering well. I pray that your recovery comes smooth and easy. Virginia graduated in 1983. Oh, 1982. Well, my kids are a little younger than that. I'm trying to think if I know anybody that graduated from Rosemont in 1982. I don't think I do. I know some people that graduated from Rosemont earlier than that. The Doyles, Chuck and Brian Doyle, and Shannon Doyle. But yes, I think those are the only people I know. Oh my gosh, look at all these people that know about Rosemont High School. That's amazing. I went to Burnsville High School, Virginia, so I know you know about Burnsville High School. So yes, I went to the Burnsville High School in Minnesota. So yeah, the Doyles are pretty well known in that area because Chuck Doyle Sr. had a big airport where the Minnesota Zoo is now. So, and I worked for Chuck Doyle for a few years when I was a younger person. Virginia, we probably know some of the same people. Angie and I both went to Burnsville High School. So anyway, what a small world. Isn't that crazy? So I really want to thank everybody. Oh, first I was talking about my DNA. So I had my DNA done, and I am 5% Irish. I'm also German, English, and Swedish, or from Sweden or Denmark, which I totally shocked about. I had no idea. And then a little Norwegian and a little Irish and a tiny bit of Baltic. I had no idea. I had no idea about the Swedish and Denmark or Norwegian. I had no idea. I'm super shocked by that. But anyway, so I wanted to thank everybody because my YouTube channel has grown exponentially in the last couple months. And it's all because of you all. And I just am so grateful. I appreciate your support so very much. It's just amazing because I've just reached over 8,500 subscribers. And I've just had over 350,000 watch hours. And that's amazing. Like, that is huge. 350,000, or maybe it was 350,000 views. I've had 350,000 views. And so I couldn't have done any of that without you supporting me and my channel. So I am so grateful for that. That is amazing. And I feel like there's so much favor on my channel. And I'll tell you, there's nothing else I would rather be doing than exactly what I'm doing right now. So I am in my happy place. This is my lane. This is my zone. And this is what makes me so happy. I get to, look at me, I get to quilt every day. And I get to play with fabric every day. And that's super exciting for me. Like, this is my dream come true. This is how I've always wanted my life to look. And now my dreams are coming true because of you. And so I have to thank you all for your lovely support and your lovely comments and all of your thumbs ups and all of the sharing and spreading the good word. So y'all just make me really happy. I'm just super excited for that. The other thing I wanted to say is that I've just come into a partnership with a company that I have been purchasing from for a long time. And I'm super excited. And it's sort of quilt related, it's clothing related, but it's a company called TeePublic, TEE Public, Public. And I've been buying t-shirts from them for a couple of years because they just have the best t-shirts. And so I've partnered with them now. And so if you look on my last, I think it's on my last video, there's a link in the description, and I'll put a link in the description of this video too. But I get my own store on TeePublic with all these quilt related t-shirts. You can get t-shirts, hoodies, all these fun t-shirts. And so I'm going to be wearing their t-shirts when I make my tutorials. I'm super excited about it because I love t-shirts with sayings on them. And it's just really, it's kind of my thing. Like I have t-shirts that have song lyrics on it. I have t-shirts that have quirky sayings on them. I have t-shirts that I spend my whole summer in t-shirts that say things on them. And so I got all these quilty t-shirts now that are in my storefront on TeePublic, and I'm super excited. And so they have sales all the time, and you can get t-shirts for like $16, and they're good quality t-shirts. They're not super cheap t-shirts. I have Revelation Quilts t-shirts that you maybe see me wear once in a while. Got those from there. And they have, normally their t-shirts are $22. I know they have a sale going on right now. I think today only for St. Patrick's Day. So, and that you can get t-shirts for like $16. And so I'm really excited for this new partnership. And I get a little bit of commission if you buy a t-shirt from my store, but it doesn't cost you any more than it normally would. So it just helps me to, get a little side hustle and support my channel. Julie G says it's because your quilts are uniquely amazing. Well, thank you very much. I just love what I do, and I really make what I like. And so if other people like it too, I think that's awesome. And so a while ago, I think it wasn't the last live stream, but the live stream before, we had a little Q&A session. And somebody asked me who or if I had a favorite designer, fabric designer or quilt designer. And I've really been thinking about those questions because I don't know if I gave a decent answer last time. But I think I mentioned that I really like Michael Miller fabrics. But there is one designer who I love. Virginia says, you and Jordan Fabrics, Bonnie Hunter, and the Sewing Channel are some of my faves. Well, thank you, Virginia. That is a good company. That is good company to be in. And so I thank you for that huge compliment. That is good company to be in. And so every time I see this designer anywhere, and I don't see her that often, but I see her stuff on Pinterest, and I'm subscribed to her newsletter or whatever. But her name is Timna Tarr. Let me know if you've ever heard of her. It's Timna, and then her last name is Tarr, Timna Tarr. And I love her quilt designs. I'm going to write her name in the chat. And if you get a chance, look her up. I'm going to ask if I can. I'm going to ask her if I can have permission to make one of her quilts and do a tutorial on it, because she just, every time I see a quilt, it seems like that I am in love with, I look at the designer and it's her. So I think her and I have kind of the same taste. Tamala, I love Jordan Fabrics and Revelation Quilts. Thank you. I like Donna Jordan too. And so every time I see a quilt that I'm in love with on Pinterest, especially, I look and it's Miss Tar. And so she is my soul sister when it comes to quilting. I think that her and I have definitely the same taste. And so, yeah, I think I'll email her or reach out to her and see if it would be okay with her if I did a tutorial on one of her designs, because it's pretty amazing. She's pretty amazing. And the other thing I wanted to ask y'all, if you ever heard of interleave quilting, an interleave quilt, INTERLEAVE. I'll type that in the chat. Interleave. It's pretty cool. I did it one time. I didn't make a whole quilt. I made like a table runner. And that might be another technique that I think it would be fun to teach. The way that it's taught is as a quilt as you go project. However, when I did it, I did not do it as a quilt as you go because I don't know, I don't really like doing quilt as you go. Although I probably should start doing some because I have a lot of batting scraps that I need to use up. Yes, Virginia, isn't she amazing? Timna. And she has a cool name, Timna Tar. That's a movie star name right there. So yeah, so I might maybe do a tutorial on interleave. And I think it'd be really hard to do an entire quilt with interleave just because of what the technique is, unless I really put my mind to it and figure something out, which I'm sure I could do. And so that is one thing I might want to do a tutorial on. Also, raise your hand if you've ever made a Bargello quilt. I've made 2, and they were pretty fun to make. They were super fun to make. I made one in black, white, and purple, and then I made another one that was kind of rainbow colors. They were pretty fun to make and not hard. They look more complicated than they are. But of course, you can make them complicated if you want. I have a Bargello book that has very complicated Bargellos in it. Virginia says, batting scraps work great for placemats. My group donates them to shut-ins at Thanksgiving. Donates the placemats? Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe I'll put together a bunch of batting scraps and donate them somewhere because I have a closet full of batting scraps. Like, usable pieces that I just don't think I'll ever use them for anything. Angie, I want to make a Bargello with Northern Lights colors. That would be beautiful because that would be, I think I sent you a Pinterest, Angie, one time of Northern Lights Bargello. That reminded me of you. Yeah, Julie, maybe I will do a Bargello tutorial. All you need is a jelly roll or 2. It's super easy. Dana, I promise you that it is not hard. I promise you that it is not hard. And just like a kaleidoscope, some people think it's so hard, but it's not. It's not hard. So, yeah. There's all kinds of ideas that go through my head. Okay, Julie, I promise I will. I just have to find the right. Oh, I think I have a good jelly roll that I can use for a Bargello. Yep. I think it's like a ombre blacks in like toned down into grays and then light grays and then whites. Yeah, that would be a good Bargello. Yeah, Virginia, that's a good suggestion. So, what else has been happening? Does anybody have any questions for me? I hope I answered the question about favorite designers and fabric designers. So, yeah, Timna Tar, she's my idol right now as far as quilting goes. I like her. But I don't see a lot of her on social media, so I don't know if she's on social media a lot because I just don't see her. I just see her quilts up there every once in a while, maybe on Pinterest or stuff like that. Where do you find If you find quilt inspiration in places other than actual quilts, where do you look for that kind of stuff? I look at, well, I did the Potama quilt. The inspiration from that came from some tiles that I saw for sale on Pinterest. I thought I could make a quilt block out of that. And then I started playing with the arrangement of them and it turned into something 100% different than I had originally intended. But it turned out pretty cool. And to date, that has been my most viewed video. I think I've got like 60,000 views on that video. Oh, Dana, that rotary cutter, the Martelli rotary cutter, no, it didn't take long at all to get used to it at all. It was so easy and it fits into your hand. Like you stick your finger out. Hold on, I've got it right here. So you get a right-handed one or a left-handed one. And then when you hold it with your hand around the handle. And then your thumb goes on this side and your finger goes over the top. And so when you're cutting, it just is a natural thing for your hand. You're not, like when you use a regular rotary cutter, your wrist is kind of going like this sometimes, excuse me. So when you're doing this, you're just holding it like normal and then you're just cutting along. And then it's got a little flip here, like you roll it along your table to get rid of this this stopper. So I can roll it and then it gets rid of the stopper and then the blade is exposed. And then when you're done cutting, you just flip this little knob and the blade guard comes back along. And then when you're ready to cut again, you just roll it along your table and that gets rid of the guard, the blade guard. And then you just flip it when you're done, and then that's all there is to it. So I love this cutter. It's really good. If you're left-handed, you'll need to specifically buy a left-handed cutter. So yeah, I highly recommend that. And it's it takes Martelli blades as well. However, I did put a blade in there from the Fabric Hut. Remember when I did a tutorial, not a tutorial, but like a promotional thing for the Fabric Hut, and I used one of their blades that does fit in the Martelli blade, Martelli cutter. So I was able to use that, but it won't take another kind of blade because I tried that and it did not work at all. So it does work for that. But yeah, I really like that cutter, Dana. So that was probably a long drawn out answer, but I gave you a little tutorial on how to use the Martelli cutter. And it wasn't expensive. I mean, it's going to last me forever. I've changed the blade a couple times in it already. The blades last a long time. Julie gets her inspiration from bathroom floors and carpet. Yes, for sure. I've looked at some modern art and I thought, ooh, how can I make that out of fabric? Dana, I do not believe it holds Fisker's blades. I think that's the blades I tried and it just didn't work in there at all. I don't know what the difference is or why it didn't work, but the Martelli blades, replacement blades, are about the same price. So I would only use a Martelli blade in there or a titanium blade from the Fabric Hut. Those are the only two that I've tried. Virginia, you get your gift wrap sometimes has designs and napkins. So that's interesting. I've never thought to get quilt inspiration from that. I have gotten quilt inspiration from architecture sometimes, the way buildings are, or the way the windows are set in buildings, things like that. There's all kinds of anything that's got any sort of geometrical shape. But I've been looking at a lot of modern art lately on Pinterest and thinking, how can I turn that into a quilt block or fabric? And then how can I make it easy enough to do a tutorial on it that I really want all of my tutorials to be appropriate for any skill level. So a beginner quilter should be able to do it for sure. And I think that's important because when I was a beginner quilter, I would have appreciated that. I would get really excited when I would see a tutorial and I would think, I can do that. I think that's something I can do. And then I would just instantly get excited and want to try it. So I want to be that teacher for other people too. Another thing that I've recently done is I have signed up to be a quilt teacher on, oh my gosh, what's the website called? It's called, is it Take Lessons? I can't remember now. I might be called Take Lessons. That doesn't sound right though. Anyway, I signed up to be a local quilt teacher. So like for so much money, I will go to somebody's house and help them make their quilt. But, oh, Susan says that Dutch Tulip Farm's aerial view would be a pretty quilt. That would be an amazing quilt. Yeah, that would be gorgeous. Another question I have for you, just a minute, would be that if you see fabric with a certain motif on it, like, would you instantly buy that fabric? Okay, like for example, I love Morning Glories, I love Lily of the Valleys, and I love poppies. So if I see fabric with those things on it, I'm super inclined to buy that. So what is it for you that if you see in fabric that you will like, yep, I have to have that? Let me know what it is. Butterflies in the color orange, Virginia says. Yeah. Julie, she always looks at fabric that has a horse on it. Angie's got butterflies for sure. Yeah. I'm also super drawn to paisleys. Tessa likes her sunflowers. Very nice. Very nice. Virginia likes kitty cats. Leanne Stapleton says circles. This is great. I love this. This is awesome. Like if there was a way, like if I could send all of my circle fabric to Leanne and all of my kitty cat fabric to Virginia and all my sunflower fabric to Tessa and we could swap like that, how amazing would that be? Yeah, that would be super fun. That would be so much fun. Yeah. So there's certain things like if I see or certain colors together, maybe. Like I'm trying to think of what colors if I saw them together. Like I love purple so much. Oh, Kasuviel. Hello from Germany et al. Glad I found the live. Hello, hello. Guten Tag or Guten Abend. Guten Tag. It's probably night in Germany. Purple. Yes, Julia, I love my purple. Purple is my jam. Which is why I made a quilt called Purple Jam. Yeah. Purples and I don't know. I do have a lot of purples in my stash. Purple speaks to me. Purple and white together just is so clean. I also like navy blue and white together. Susan L likes bright colors. Definitely. I don't have a lot of not bright colors in my stash. Blue, yellow, and green combination. Oh yeah, that's pretty. I also like, one of these days I want to make a red and yellow quilt. Purple and blue, purple and green. I read that purple and green together are the most used quilt combination of all time, purples and greens together. Which I guess that doesn't surprise me because those colors look awesome together. Purple and green together. Ocean colors for Helen. Definitely. Blues. sand, blue sky, blue water. Yeah. I can't wait for the day that I can wake up listening to the sound of the beach for the rest of my life. Definitely. Yeah. Autumn tones. Virginia likes her autumn tones. Yeah. I do too. I love orange. Like orange is probably my second favorite color. But I don't have a lot of orange fabric. Maybe because there isn't a lot of it. There's a lot of autumn colors together, but not a lot of just orangey type fabrics for sure. What else is going on? Yeah, but for the motifs for sure. Paisleys, um, morning glories, so many shades of orange. There are a lot of shades of orange, and it's hard to it's kind of hard to put the different shades of orange together, isn't it? Because I mean, you can put different shades of purples together and different shades of blues together, but orange is kind of weird that way. Virginia likes the peachy oranges. The quilt that's on top of my desk right now is orange and pink together. I like those colors together. You you don't see those colors together very often, orange and pink together, but I do like those colors together. So yeah, I have a quilt on top of my desk that's orange and pink that I did a long time ago. Orange can be a bit obnoxious sometimes, especially if it's like a blaze orange, like hunting orange. Tasmania, Australia, enjoy your videos so much, says Carolyn Hillier. Thank you, Carolyn. I love that you're here and welcome from around on the other side of the world. You are heading into autumn right now. So I hope it's still nice and warm where you are. Angie says growing up, her bedroom was pink and orange. Those colors look amazing together, in my opinion. I don't think I was ever in your bedroom when we were in high school. I knew where you lived because I knew where Katie lived, and so I knew where you lived. But yeah, I don't think I was ever at your house. But yeah. So, does anybody have any questions for me? Virginia, your room was tangerine. My room growing up, well, when I had to share a room with my sister growing up, we had this very 70s wallpaper that I'm pretty sure there was orange in it. It was like 70s floral wallpaper. Now it would be super retro. I remember I picked it out. It was quite loud. And, well, it's just very 70s. Aging myself. Well, we're all there. And I think we had like orange and brown, maybe shag carpet too or something. Yeah, Virginia, I like it now. And now it's kind of hard to find. That reminds me, speaking of retro, I have been looking at a lot of mid-century modern type art, and I have been wanting to design a mid-century modern style quilt. And so I have been looking at different mid-century modern designs, and I think I'm gonna try to design something that will look cool. Mid-century modern had very specific shapes and colors, so I'm trying to kind of decide what that's going to look like. Julie G, can you tell your story of how you became a quilter? Well, when I was growing up, both of my grandmothers were quilters, but I think my maternal grandmother was a quilter longer than my paternal grandmother. But I remember as a little girl, when we go and visit her, she lived in Illinois. We'd go and visit her, and she had an old sewing machine with I think it's called a treadle trundle or something. It was like a foot pedal that you went like this with your foot and it powered the machine. And so she would let me play on that, and she would give me these little squares, and she would kind of show me how to put them together. And so I would make these little 3-inch patchwork squares, and I would be so proud of that. I didn't know I was quilting. I just thought I was playing with her sewing machine. And so, Angie, there's a new line of fabric out designed by Maureen McCormick from the Brady Bunch. Very retro 70s color scheme. I'll check that out for sure. So grandma would let me play with that. And so that was probably my first, the first memory I have of that's anything quilt related. And then my other grandmother got into quilting, and then my two grandmothers would work on quilts together. My wedding quilt was made by both of my grandmothers, so that was a treasure. And it's old now. It's in my cedar chest now. It's got some rips and shreds to it, and then my mom got into quilting. I don't know when she started, but I'm sure her mother was an influence in her learning to quilt. And then I remember her quilting back in the 90s. And then I actually started getting interested in it in about 2008 after trying a whole bunch of different. I have a dog scratching at the door, so if you hear that, I apologize. So in about 2008, I got into quilting after trying a whole bunch of different types of crafts. I really wanted to find my thing. So I tried counted cross stitch, and I tried crocheting, which I liked. Crocheting, it was okay. I tried painting, which I was pretty good at. I tried creative writing. I was in a band for a while as a lead singer, so I did that for a while. I just really wanted to find my thing. So I decided to try quilting, and my first quilt was terrible, and it was a red, white, and blue quilt made from a pattern in a book, a fat quarter book, and I never finished it because it was so awful. I wanted it to be super fluffy, so I used this extra high loft batting, and it was it's terrible. And I didn't know what a seam allowance was, so my seams, none of my intersections matched up. I didn't know I didn't even know what a seam allowance was, let alone a 1/4-inch seam allowance. I thought, that's probably not important. And so I would just turn my sewing machine on and start sewing, and I couldn't figure out why nothing matched. And I finished the quilt top. I sandwiched it. I pinned it, and I tried hand quilting, and some of it's hand quilted, but that's as far as I got. And it's been sitting in the same state since 2008. I never finished it. And once in a while, I'll get it out and I'll laugh at it and make fun of it because everybody has to have a first quilt, and I'm never going to finish it. It's just always going to be there as a reminder. What started me on quilting was just that I just wanted to try different things, and knowing that both my grandmothers quilted and then my mom quilted, I just started teaching myself to quilt through books and watching videos. And then if I had a question, I could ask my mom, and she would help me. She did teach me how to applique. And the reason I stuck to quilting and I didn't stick with anything else was because I'm kind of a been there, done that person. So when I would crochet a hat, I would think, okay, that was cool. I crocheted a hat. I have no desire to crochet another hat. But with quilting, there's so many different techniques. There's so many different designs that you can do. And everyone is so different that I just never lost interest in it. I just wanted to learn a new technique with every quilt I made, so that I just, after so much practice on so many different things, I actually became kind of good at it. And I got tired of I got tired of following other people's patterns. So I would use their patterns as like inspiration or to learn a new technique. But honestly, I don't even look at other people's patterns anymore because I don't want to copy anyone else's patterns. I just want to get inspiration from something and then make it my own. So I hope that that answers the question. Those dogs are annoying. They really need me right now, and they have my husband out there so they can go to him. So that's kind of how I got started in quilting. Angie says her first quilt is unfinished because my grandma was going to teach me how to hand quilt it, but we never got a chance. It's a hexagon flower garden quilt that I hand pieced when you were 13. Boy, Angie, you had an early start on your quilting. That's amazing. It's too bad you never got to finish that. And I'm interested in knowing if you ever are going to finish it or if you're going to leave it to your grandchildren to finish. So yes, that's interesting. That's very interesting. How did so Angie's sister prefers to sew on a treadle even now. I would like to try it again. I think that would be kind of fun to try it again. It would take me a minute to get the rhythm down. It just sounds like somebody's trying to break in my room. That's super annoying. I'm going to sneeze here in a minute, so hopefully I don't blow out the microphone. But I'm going to text my husband to come and get the dog away. Let's see. Yeah, so hopefully I just texted help. So anyway, let's see. Virginia says, my first quilt was a baby quilt for my oldest son. I just slapped 2 pieces of yardage together with batting in between. Using the sewing machine, I quilted it. So many pleats, puckers, and tucks. But I bet that your son loved it. Like, I bet he still cherishes it. Like, I bet that was amazing. Lee Ann Stapleton, talk about inspiration. Your bird and flower doorway quilt inspired me to one day make a nutcracker quilt. I would love to see that, Leanne. I bet that will look awesome. To one day make one, so you haven't made one yet. So when you do make it, please show me. Virginia says, but he loved it and brought his daughter home from the hospital wrapped in it. That is so sweet. That is a beautiful story. I love that. You talk about treadles and you get sound effects. Too funny. Oh yeah, you heard. That's embarrassing. My husband came and got them and took them outside because they are around me 24/7 all day long. And so if I even like go to the restroom, they're like, oh my God, where is she? She's gone. I don't know where she is. And they panic and they can't stand it. They have panic attacks. I think they're a little too dependent on their mama. So, yeah, I think it'd be fun to have a treadle. I know people who have sewing machines, like they collect the old sewing machines like that. I just don't know where the heck they put them. I had my son-in-law's grandmother's Singer treadle machine restored and made my granddaughter's quilt using it, minus the applique embroidery. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Wow. Carolyn says she likes paisleys and poppies too. But hey, Carolyn, I think you might be behind on the live stream. So can somebody type in that Carolyn might want to push or hit the live button? Because I think that she might be behind. Angie said her mom had 30 machines she collected. Well, Angie, where did your mom put them all? Like, I would love to have an older machine, but there is no place. Like, my quilt studio is jam packed. This is my space. I've been desperate for a new space for a long time. Well, in Minnesota they have basements, so she probably had them down in the basement, maybe. Diana B says, my friend in Utah is giving me her treadle. I can't wait to get it in May. Oh, you're so lucky. That would be so fun. I would love to try one again. And I know that, like, when you see a machine like that maybe on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, they're not that, they might be, they're not that expensive. So, yeah, that's true. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to try one again. I don't know. Quilting creative side, wild. Yeah. So anyway, so mostly basement. Yep, that makes sense, Angie. That makes sense. So anyway, yeah, so that's kind of my quilting story. I just fell in love with it. And then after a while, I just started to, after watching so many tutorials on YouTube and learning from so many tutorials, every time I found myself thinking, every time I'm making a quilt, I found myself thinking, I should make a tutorial about this. I could do that. And so one day I just tried it with my very first tutorial, my X's and O's tutorial. It's at the very bottom of my page. I was too scared to show my face, and the quality probably isn't great. The sound probably isn't great. And I had no idea how to edit a video. But I just put it out there. I thought, what the heck? I'm going to try it and see. And I just found out it wasn't so bad. Like, definitely could have used some improvement. I try to improve a little bit with each video I make, but I just put it out there. And then the time that I did show my face, I found out that when I first started, I was using my webcam to film my tutorials, but I found that when I talked into the webcam, the voice didn't match up with my mouth moving, so it looked like I was in a foreign film. And so I thought, well, yeah, I can't do that. So I had to figure out how to do voiceovers and all of that stuff. And so then finally, now I don't shoot videos on my webcam anymore, but I shoot them on my iPhone, which is much better. So yes, Robin, I am glad I did too. And it really was the start of a whole new career. And then about 6 months, maybe 5 or 6 months into it, I lost my job. I had a work at home job, and the company I was working for decided to outsource instead of hire within. So all the people who did my job, we all kind of just lost our jobs. And so I thought, well, this is a sign to go all in on my YouTube career. And so I never looked back. And then about 2 weeks or so after that was when my first video kind of went viral. Not my first video, but my first viral video happened. And so that was the Putama quilt. And I went from having very low subscribers and low views and things like that to all of a sudden it just all blew up. And that was in July, I think, of not last year, but maybe the year before. I don't even remember now. But that's when it just blew up. And ever since then, there's just been so much favor on this channel. And so I really appreciate that. 70 Acre Studio. Hello. Love the quilt on the design wall. Thank you. And Kathy, so glad to be here. Kathy, I'm glad you're here too. I did change the time from 9 p.m. to 7 p.m. because I took a poll and the majority of the people said 7 was a better time. So that's why I decided to go on at 7 instead. So that's kind of my story. My YouTube story. And now that this is how I'm earning my living, I work on this full time, and it is 100% a joy for me to do this. I love it so much. During the day, I am usually working on my YouTube channel. And yes, there's 29 people watching. That's amazing. So during the day, I'm working on my YouTube channel. I'm working on sketching. I'm working on, sometimes I sew, but sometimes the dogs don't let me sew. And so I'm working on like the correspondence, the business part of it. And then the hubby comes home. We make dinner. I have dinner. Well, I make dinner. We have dinner together. We maybe watch an hour of television, and then he goes to bed at like 8:30, and then he takes the dogs with him, so it's their bedtime too. And then from about 8:30 until about 2 a.m. is when I'm sewing, and I have my music on. I'm in my Zen happy place. I may be either listening to a podcast, or I have a couple podcasts that I listen to, or I have music on, and I have YouTube on a video that is like a 4K resolution, fly over the earth type scenic, beaches or something like that on silent while the podcast is playing. And so that is how my day works. And so I from 8:30 until about 1 in the morning, I'm usually sewing and happy, and I'm in my happy place, my creative place. And then I have to make myself go to bed at about 2 in the morning because I am such a night owl. If I don't make myself go to bed at 2 a.m., I will meet my husband as he's getting up, and that would be embarrassing. So he gets up at 4. So we do see each other, but only for a couple hours a day. And neither him or me, we're not complaining about that at all. Not that we don't like each other, but it's just that he's such a morning person. I'm such a night person. We have such a great partnership that it just works for us. And once we're retired, we will have to adjust our schedule like that. I'm not going to retire from doing this, though. He's going to retire from his job. I'm going to keep doing this, even though it'll probably be in a different location. 70 Acres Studio says that she's a night owl too. She usually doesn't go to bed till after 4 a.m. I had a girl. You're a night owl too. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's because for me it might be because I spent the majority of my life as a restaurant manager, of my adult life as a restaurant manager. And so usually restaurants that were open, till 1 in the morning. And so I wouldn't get home till 2 or 3 a.m. usually. So that kind of set me on this pattern. But I really like being up at night. Everything's quiet, and I get to listen to music. Yes, Julie, I agree. Creative juices do flow at night. Sometimes I might have a glass of wine here with me. Just like, I don't know, it's just my happy place. I'm just alone with God, and we just hang out, and it's just happy. There's music, or there's a podcast, glass of wine, maybe a sketchbook, a sewing machine. What? I don't need anything other than that. Amen. Amen. Yeah, I think we all need that time. I don't mind being alone. I kind of like being by myself, and so we all need that once in a while. And you have to be very secure with yourself to like yourself enough to spend time with yourself. And I think that that's important to do. So there you go. Does anyone have any questions for me? Angie says it can be 1 a.m. before I even realize it, especially when I am crumb piecing. Yeah, that's kind of, I can see that. You just lose track of time. And I do that when I'm editing videos late at night sometimes. Sometimes I look at the clock and it's like, 1:15 in the morning. And then I get busy again and I look again, it's like 2:30. I'm like, holy cow, I got to go to bed. Otherwise, I'm going to meet my husband in the hallway, and I don't want that. 70 Acre Studio, God was with me for my latest project. I couldn't have done it without him. Absolutely. I think I get inspired by, I don't think the inspiration comes from me a lot of the times. It comes from somewhere else. So I have to acknowledge where acknowledgement is due. Angie still got to go to work in the morning. Yeah, Angie. But only for another year, right, Angie? And then you're done, right? Or maybe a year and a half? Another school year, maybe? Yeah. So let me know if you have any other questions. We've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. I'm so grateful that so many people showed up. It's awesome. Saving Acres Studio retired in 2018. Good for you. Congratulations. I have 6 years to go. Well, I say me and my husband, we're exactly the same age. We're 4 days apart in age. 51 school days left, and then I am done. Yay, Angie. I'm so excited for you. And then you're coming to Waco to visit. We'll do a quilting retreat in my house. Definitely. So I'm glad I got to talk to y'all. I love talking to everybody. I love getting everyone's comments and feedback. It's like, I wish we could we can Zoom call, maybe. One of the membership tiers are Zoom calls, but I think that Virginia, I can hardly believe that I was able to retire last year at the age of 57. That's amazing. Were you a teacher? What did you do before you retired, Virginia? Because 57, that's a pretty nice retirement age. I'm curious as to what you did before you retired. That's awesome. I can't imagine retiring from this because I like doing this so much. This is my happy. So anyway, if no one else has any questions, I am going to go back to my happy place. Well, you guys make me happy. I don't want you to think I'm trying to get rid of you. Tamala, that would be amazing to meet you. Dana, thank you so much. I'm glad you found my channel too. 70 Acres Studio, you inspired me to do a live and it was a blast. Yeah, lives are fun to do. Like it helps me feel connected to the people that are watching my channel. So Virginia says, I worked at the local hotel as a front desk clerk, but when my parents died, I inherited my childhood home and made it a rental property. Oh, that's amazing. I mean, that's awesome that opportunity came for you, but I'm sorry that your parents passed away. Angie might want to start a long arm business. Angie got a long arm. When was that? Last year, and she's been practicing. So, and she is in Minnesota. So if you need a long armor, Tamala is only 8 hours from me. Tamala, where are you? Susan, I enjoy your creativity. Thank you, Susan. Amen, Virginia. Oh, yeah. Almost 2 years ago since you bought that? Yeah. I should start sending you my quilts to have them long-armed. Nah, that's too much of a turnaround. Good night, everyone. Let's go quilt. Good night, Julie. Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Yeah, maybe we should plan a weekend and hang out and do some quilting. We can make a quilt together. That would be super fun. If you'll host me, I'll come someday. That would be fun. And then we can film it and put it on the channel. Yeah, that would be fun. I would do that. You could show me around Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Only if I can drink some wine. Yeah, you have a wine with me. Could rent Bonnie Hunter's Quiltville Inn. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And I'm going to look up Broken Arrow on my Google Maps and see where it is. It's in Virginia. That would be pretty neat. I've only been through Virginia once on my way to Maryland. Outside of Tulsa. Okay. Yeah, I can dig it. We'll have to look into that. Perhaps. Mouth of Wilson, Virginia. That's a weird name, but I like it. It's unique. All right. Well, I am going to end tonight. And I am so glad that you were able to join me. We will do this every third Friday of every month at 7 p.m. If anything changes from that, I will certainly let you know. Thank you to everybody who joined this live stream. It was super fun, and I'm glad we got to chat. So, everybody, have a great St. Patrick's Day. Have a great spring, and we will see you on April 21st next. So, thank you for joining. Mwah. Hugs and kisses to everybody. Happy spring.